Blighty Boxing, in association with Frank Warren and Queensbury Promotions. We're down in Southampton with the guru of Southampton boxing, Mr. Wayne Batten. How are you, sir?
I'm good, thank you, Rich. It's good to have you down here.
Excellent, thank you. I want to ask you a little bit about the local scene first of all, because to the best of my knowledge, there hasn't been much of a local scene over the years. For a port city, Liverpool, Belfast, Southampton hasn't really got that fight city tag to it. Is that fair?
Yeah, it's definitely fair. I think you can go back to Jack Bishop was the only, obviously, trainer, manager, promoter to come out of Southampton. And Jack went on to in his 90s, I think 91, 92. I think he produced a couple of British champions, but other than Jack, there's been nothing else, really, to come out of the city.
So who was your role model, your inspiration to get so involved in the sport? Because, like I say, you're not really following on from anything.
No, I suppose my uncle was a professional boxer with Jack himself. And I used to go down to the gym with him a few times a week and just do a bit of training. Obviously, I was boxing amateur myself at the time. And then I suppose that was my inspiration, really, then.
That was where the seed was sown then, was it, sort of your uncle?
Yeah, definitely, yeah. He got me into boxing, I would say. And I used to watch all the big fights on the TV and then took a liking to it. And like I say, boxed amateur myself and then got into training quite early.
So what was the catalyst? Because you'd have been quite a young man to go from, like I say, an amateur boxer to being a trainer. What tipped you over that particular edge?
Just helping out a local community, really. When I first moved to Southampton when I was 15, started hanging around with a few friends from the local area, which wasn't a bit of a rough area, wasn't a good area. I was boxing at the time. They ended up in and out of jail. And then obviously didn't see him for a couple of years, and then one day they just contacted me and said they want to give something back to the community and open up a boxing club, and could I come in and help them do a bit of training, because I was the only person they knew that had done a bit of boxing. So I was actually a boxer at the time. I didn't want to say no and let them down because they were good friends, but obviously they took their path and I took mine. And just went down to the local, we had a little unit, and went in there and started training some of the youngsters from the estate. I didn't want to see them go down the same road. And just started coaching.
Birth of the empire.
Yeah, that's where it all started, really, yeah.
Great stuff. I mean, who were your, obviously you, I don't want to sound a thing, but you're quite well known now probably for Ryan Garner, who's sort of broken through as a major TV fighter over the last few years. You had Joe Pigford. Was there anyone before that, or were they like your breakthrough pair?
No, obviously I think my breakthrough fighter, to be fair, was I worked with a boxer called Henry Castle. He won the elite ABAs back in the day.
As an amateur trainer, that would have been, yeah?
I was training amateur boxers then. I met him. He was already an established pro. He was with Frank Warren at the time, actually. And then obviously he went on to box for Frank Maloney, or Kelly Maloney, however you want to describe it. And I started working with him. He was working with Ronnie Davis. And, thankful for Ronnie. He gave me an opportunity to work alongside him. And he was my mentor, really. And I started working with Frank Hopkins as well, and went from there. But Henry Castle was the first fighter I actually worked with.
I think that happens quite a lot with trainers, doesn't it? They do have a mentor or an older person who sort of provides that inspiration and shows them all the tricks of the trade, I guess.
Yeah, like I say, definitely. Mine's definitely Ronnie Davis. I learned so much off Ronnie Davis, and also Frank Hopkins, but obviously Frank's role was more of a cutsman, as we know, and people know in the boxing world. But Frank was obviously involved in training fighters with Ronnie Davis as well, back in the day, obviously with Tony Oki and so on. But yeah, definitely, if it wasn't for Ronnie Davis, then obviously I don't think I'd be sat here now doing this interview. Great
stuff. Now, to bring it back up to the present day, you're sitting here now in your own gym, or your own half the gym, and you've got a real talented, prodigious little squad of fighters. Now I'm going to sort of go through them one by one, and you can give us a little bit of background about their sort of strengths, weaknesses, characters. We'll start with Ryan. We all know he's had his ups and downs, but he's firmly back in the saddle now, I would say.
Yeah, definitely. Obviously, Ryan's the first fighter out of the bunch we got now. that obviously I started working with. Obviously Ryan's been with me since he was must be 12, 13 years of age when he was an amateur. He always used to come over and do a bit of extra training. Multiple national champion, European gold, boxing the worlds. So it's nice to see Ryan back doing what he does best, because obviously I've seen the talent now for the last 8 years with Ryan, and I just hope that he doesn't waste that and he goes on to fulfil his.
Well, it was a scary little hiatus. We won't beat about the bush when he sort of fell off the rails and stopped training essentially. But to see him back now, he almost looks more mature and happier than ever, which has got to be a good sign.
Yeah, obviously Ryan turned pro at 18, and I remember having a conversation with him when he wanted to turn over. Obviously GB were very keen to keep him on their setup, and I did say to Ryan, if you want to turn professional, you've got to be very mature and obviously take this very serious. But it's most probably taken him maybe now 4 years to actually realise that. What I was trying to have that conversation with him. But yeah, I think now onwards, I think he's definitely matured up. He understands what's right and what's wrong and what he's got to do, and hopefully be professional and go on and win plenty of titles.
Fair play to the lad. He was in here earlier training, and he put his mucky clothes back on and his yellow bib, and he went back to the building site. I mean, he's getting his life in order. You've got to be fair to him.
Yeah, like I say, we went and picked him up. He's only working local. Luckily, we went and picked him up. To me, it just amazes me that I see him walking down the road to get in the car with his hard hat on and high vis and boots on, and then comes in here, gets changed, and starts going to work. And the talent that the boy's got is unbelievable.
Talk to me about the Chamberlain brothers. Obviously, the more prominent one is Mark de Bomb, who really has got a de Bomb in his hands or in his fists. I think he's 5-0, something like that. Most of them knockouts. The boy's got power.
Yeah, I think it will come from the amateurs. Obviously, I think when Mark won the elite ABAs, senior ABAs, I think he stopped most of them on their way. Or gave him counts at least. I just don't want him to fall in love with that power, because I feel like as we move on and we get to championship level,
he don't go down, do they?
No, exactly. Don't go down as easy. So I'm trying to educate him a little bit on that side and say, Mark, you can't rely on the power, but he's definitely heavy-handed. So if he can just use his boxing brain a little bit and know what to do on that side of the boxing, then obviously I think we've got one hell of a fight on our hands.
Exciting to watch. I mean, the public love a banger, don't they? There's no two ways about it. We can all admire the scientific stuff, the counter punching, the slick stuff, but when you get someone who just throws a kitchen sink at an opponent, people love to watch it.
Yeah, definitely. It's entertainment at the end of the day, boxing, and for the neutrals, they want to see good, entertaining fights, like you say, and I think Mark will definitely be in that. Not good for me, obviously. Sat there in the corner and trying to work on a few things with him, but I think for the general public or the boxing fan, he'd definitely be in some exciting fights.
Tell me about his brother Jamie a little bit. I mean, we don't want to leave him out. I mean, it's obvious that Mark is the gifted one, if you like, and Jamie's got a bit of catching up to do, but tell us a little bit about him.
Yeah, Jamie's obviously, he's the older brother actually, to be fair. I think going back to the amateurs, they used to have a little bit of a laugh and a giggle that Jamie used to get beat by someone and Mark used to have to go and put it right. The younger brother used to have to go and put it right. But Jamie's a good kid. They both live a good, clean life. He hasn't got the power that Mark's got, the strengths that Mark's got. But Jamie's 3-0 now as a pro. I've seen them have some sparring sessions in the gym, and to be fair, they both go at it, and it's for brothers there's that little bit of needle there. So I try not to do it too much, but they both got massive hearts, and hopefully Jamie, we can win a little area title with him and see where we go from there. But like I said, it's just he's living a little bit of Mark's shadow, I think, which is a little bit difficult for him, but it happens, and but it's nice to have them both in the gym and working with both of them.
Now, funnily enough, the quite big name amateur that Mark beat in his ABA senior run was Charles Frankham. Now you seem to have half his family, his extended family, in the gym. in Josh Frankham and now Levi Frankham. Both haven't fought pro yet, so you're getting them ready. Josh first, he was supposed to be on April 11th. Circumstances, but everyone knows about, means that's been put back. But tell us a little bit about him.
Just quickly going back to the Frankhams, obviously I didn't know too much about the Frankhams before Josh was the first one to obviously join us, and but I know quite a lot about the family now. Obviously I knew Mark beat Charles, and I knew from the amateur days I always heard Charles' name, and he was, he's exceptional talent himself. But one thing I will say, if with the Frankhams that I've noticed in this short space of time, their work ethic is phenomenal. They're very professional. They're boxing for the right reasons.
As a sport.
Because I think sometimes people want to turn over and turn professional, and they think it's, they're going to earn fantastic money and they're going to get to, that we know we're not silly. That's only at the top end of the sport, in my opinion. But they're not boxing for the money. These good boys, they don't need the money. They're boxing it because they eat, sleep and breathe it, and they love it, and they want to become champions. So to me, that's a massive asset to have. And so far, obviously with Josh, it's been a little bit longer. We're getting him ready for the 11th. Camp's been brilliant. He hasn't questioned anything I've asked him to do. He's done. He's respectful, and I just really think it's going to be a real exciting journey with Josh. And he reminds me very similar, different styles. Don't get me wrong, but very similar to Ryan Garner. His boxing IQ is phenomenal, and like I say, he's a real student of the game. And in this short space of time, my expectations of Josh have gone sky high in only a short space of time, and because I think he's going to be one hell of a fighter.
Now, joining him is a cousin, Levi. People might not know quite so much about him, but he's a multi-time national champion, Tri-Nations winner. He's only 19, and the plan is you've sent the forms off, you're turning him over now.
Yeah, obviously just filled out his application for his licence. That's all done. Next step is obviously speak to Frank. Obviously, my loyalties are with Frank, and Frank Warren's been absolutely fantastic with me and my fighters. So I would always recommend that any boxer that works for me, if they're good enough, obviously, to have a contract with Frank.
You think he's looking the part?
He is. It's only very early days, obviously, with Levi.
Middleweight, by the way.
Do you know what? He's so. How can I put it? It's the same with Josh. Really, we're not really sure yet. We're not really. Obviously, we said super welterweight with Josh, but we're not sure whether we can do well at the minute. The way things are going with his weight, everything's spot on. So with Levi, possibly like super welterweight as well. I think
he's a tall one, isn't he?
He's very big. He's big for a middleweight. So, like I say, it's early days, so we're not quite sure. But if we say middleweight to start with, and then see where we are. But
I mean, you can work down. It's not until you get to sort of title fights, but it becomes a real sticking point anyway.
Yeah, no, definitely. Like I say, obviously it's a work in progress on their weight, and to see where we are. The beauty is they're all young lads, but obviously they're still growing. But they're young lads at the moment. Obviously, Levi 19, Josh 20, Mark 20, Ryan just 22. So they're all young lads, and obviously Ryan's been a pro a little bit longer, so we know where we are with what sort of weight category we think Ryan will campaign at. If we get to championship level. So.
How is it now, just finally, you're assembling a group, a little squad. Surely that's the fact that they're young lads, surely that's got to be beneficial in the fact that they're all bouncing off each other. They've got, you're not just working with one or two, where it can probably be, that's when it does become a lonely old business. But you've got a young group and, a young, really talented group, and that's got to be, for you as a trainer, it's got to be a kind of utopia.
Oh, definitely. Like I say, they all boxed when they was amateurs. I think they all knew each other because they're the same sort of age group. Some of them were on GB together, and on the English set up in camps and up in Sheffield away. But like I say, having them all round together at this sort of young age, they also like bounce off each other. So it is really good. The gym's buzzing at the minute, and
keep you younger as well.
Yeah, it keeps me younger, definitely. Yeah. Any boxer, they love doing the pads and so on. So yeah, it definitely keeps me younger, keeps me on my toes.
Wayne, right, we'll see when all this events in the wider world, see how it all plays out, and when whether we are aiming at July the 11th, which hopefully we are, and we'll come down and see you again soon before that. Take care, Wayne, thank you.
Pleasure, Rich, thank you.